So James Gunn has to go ahead and make sure that this Superman film does not flop. Okay, and he says the budget for Superman is under control, but nothing about this production looks cheap. I mean, honestly, James Gunn is the one who actually put Superman at the center of the DCU reboot. Now, James Gunn is the one who said that the movie didn't need to make $1 billion. But when Superman costs what it costs, and James Gunn is the face of the whole plan, well, people want real numbers, not a studio spin, okay? So James Gunn's Superman reboot starring David Cornsweet is here, and it launched under the new DCU, and it came out swinging on July 11th. Now, it made $122 million domestic and $217 million worldwide total in just 3 days. It's just tracking behind Jurassic World Rebirth and the Lilo and Stitch reboot. Now, that's good if you're chasing headlines, but this is not about the headlines themselves. You see, the financial pressure behind this film is actually heavy, and it's baked into absolutely every part of this release. Now, there's been a mess of confusion over how much James Gunn actually spent to make Superman. Some outlets pointed to the public tax filings from Ohio showing a gross budget of $363.8 million. That number would have put Superman in the same category as Endgame and Infinity War. But Warner Brothers Discovery immediately tried to change the conversation. You see, they claim tax incentives made the real cost much lower. And according to Warner Brothers and James Gunn himself, the actual cost to make Superman was $225 million. He even responded to the $364 million number on social media, questioning how anyone outside the production could possibly know. I mean, fair enough. But the real point isn't about, what he says. It's about what the accounting shows. And industry trades like the Wall Street Journal and even Box Office Mojo backed the $225 million net budget figure. Now, marketing is just where the numbers get slippery, okay? Before the movie came out, the trade media claimed Superman had a $200 million marketing push. Now, we saw it everywhere, okay? James Gunn's Superman showed up on Roku devices, Times Square billboards, Amazon storefronts, and Samsung promotions. That kind of visibility isn't cheap, and it doesn't happen unless the studio is going all in. But then, after the movie opened, Variety suddenly revised that number down to $100 million. It doesn't matter whether you believe the $200 million or $100 million number. Both options create very different outcomes. You see, if you take the higher number at face value, Superman cost Warner Brothers around $425 million. If you go with the low-end estimate, that figure drops to $325 million. James Gunn and the WBD benefit if people focus on cheaper numbers, but that doesn't match the reach of this campaign. Okay, so studios don't get to keep every dollar from the box office. You see, they split the revenue with theaters. Domestically, studios usually keep 50 to 55%, and internationally, they only get around 40 to 45%. So if James Gunn's Superman costs $425 million, the film needs to go ahead and make at least double that to break even, possibly more. That's not speculation right there, okay? That's just simply standard industry math, okay? But just to be in the clear, this James Gunn Superman movie probably needs to go ahead and just make somewhere between $850 million and $1.606 billion. The lower number assumes clean splits and some decent hold at the box office. The higher number, on the other hand, assumes the international take is weaker and hold theaters on to their usual cut. And if you believe that the $200 million marketing push is there, then the bar is even higher. Okay, so of course you've got a bunch of mainstream media outlets trying to spin the break-even point even lower. Some claim it's only 500 million. Others say it's 562 million dollars if you just multiply the production cost by 2.5 and forget about the marketing entirely. Now, that's not how any of this works. That's like pretending the ad campaign ran for free. Now, James Gunn dismissed the $700 million figure as utter nonsense, but that's one of the few numbers that actually fits with real world break even modeling, okay? And that's not surprising right there at all. Now, James Gunn keeps saying that, Superman doesn't need to be as big as people think. I mean, maybe he's trying to go ahead and lower the expectations so he can just call any decent showing a win. But nobody serious believes that $500 million gets you even. Now, if Superman costs $425 million and they only make $500 million, Warner Brothers is pulling in less than $250 million after theater splits, okay? That right there is not a win at all. Now, the only way the $500 million number makes sense is if you assume Superman had a $100 million marketing budget and Warner Brothers is happy walking away with no profit. I mean, that's not how studios survive. And with the entire DCU reboot riding on James Gunn's Superman, they're not selling for breaking even. They're actually trying to build a new franchise, and that doesn't happen unless you clear the bar itself, okay? Now, James Gunn and his defenders are pushing hard against the idea that Superman needs to make over $700 million, but if you add up the marketing and the production budgets and account for box office splits, that number makes more sense than anything else that's being thrown around. Now, Warner Brothers doesn't just want to break even. They want to go ahead and justify the entire DC reset. Now, if James Gunn can't make that happen with Superman, the whole thing stalls, okay? But there's also this idea that's floating around that, Superman could be considered a success even if it misses the profit mark because it just revitalizes the brand. That's wishful thinking. The real world doesn't operate on vibes, okay? If James Gunn and this Superman movie doesn't make money, there's no incentive for Warner Brothers to go ahead and double down on the rest of his DCU vision. I mean, they already canceled Batgirl. They're not scared to go ahead and pull the plug either. But right now, Superman is pacing toward $600 to $700 million. That's a solid run, though, but it's not bulletproof. The second weekend drop will say a lot, and James Gunn's Superman does not have a safety net. Now, the marketing push, the pressure to lead a new franchise, the comparisons to Marvel's flops and stuff, it all adds weight. A miss here drags down everything that comes hereafter, okay? But honestly, if the marketing under James Gunn really was just, $100 million, then fine. Superman needs to make closer to $650 million to stay safe. But that's a best case scenario. If this James Gunn film was really $200 million, it's a much taller order. Either way, James Gunn and Superman have no room for error. Now, the superhero genre isn't getting the benefit of the doubt anymore. You see, everything's measured in dollars now, okay? And even if this Superman film by James Gunn gets close to break even, Warner Brothers still needs to justify why James Gunn gets to run the DCU. And if the movie underperforms, it's not just a dent, it's a warning shot. Now, studios are tightening up, and if Superman doesn't do what it needs to do, James Gunn will have a harder time getting the green light on whatever comes next, okay? Now, the real success of Superman itself is not just ticket sales. You see, it's whether the movie actually resets DC's direction and keeps people interested. But you can't build a cinematic universe on red ink. Now, James Gunn has staked his credibility on Superman. Warner Brothers has backed him with marketing and budget. if this reboot stalls out financially, it'll be hard to sell investors on the next chapter. Okay, so James Gunn simply wanted Superman to lead the charge, and it still might, but it's going to take more than, you know, fan buzz and social media praise, and it's going to take real cash. $600 million minimum, $700 million to be safe, closer to $850 million if they told the truth about the campaign costs. Now, this isn't about, you know, superhero fatigue. It's about James Gunn making the numbers work. Okay, so let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Feel free to smash that like button if you enjoyed what shared in the video. Join my Discord server, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for future uploads notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.